The man who had once commanded elite military units now stood silently in the lobby, watching his wife stride past without acknowledging him. As Victoria Chen, CEO of Meridian Technologies, disappeared into her private elevator, Marcus adjusted his security uniform and swallowed his pride. Little did she know that the husband she had grown to resent was not just a simple security guard, but a decorated former Special Forces commander with a past so classified even she couldn't access it. Their marriage was hanging by a thread, but everything was about to change when Victoria's life was threatened, forcing Marcus to reveal the man he truly was. If you're enjoying this story of hidden identities and second chances, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more emotional journeys that will keep you on the edge of your seat until the very end. Victoria Chen had always been exceptional. By 35, she had transformed a struggling tech startup into Meridian Technologies, a billion-dollar corporation at the forefront of artificial intelligence. Her corner office on the 50th floor overlooked the San Francisco skyline, a daily reminder of how far she had climbed. The Singapore investors are confirmed for Thursday, her assistant said, hurrying alongside her as Victoria entered the building that morning. Move them to Friday. I want the new projections ready before we meet, Victoria replied without breaking stride, her Louboutins clicking authoritatively across the marble lobby. She barely glanced at the security desk where her husband of 3 years stood watching her. Marcus Chen, age 40, had been working as head of building security for the past 18 months. Their eyes met briefly, his warm and patient, hers cold and dismissive. It hadn't always been this way. When they'd met 4 years ago at a charity gala, Victoria had been captivated by Marcus's quiet confidence. He was handsome in a rugged way, with intelligent eyes and an easy smile. He'd told her he was between careers after leaving military service. Victoria, riding high on her company's initial success, had found his straightforward nature refreshing after years of ambitious men trying to impress her. Their whirlwind romance had culminated in a small but elegant wedding on the California coast. For the first year, they'd been happy. Marcus had supported her ambitions completely, taking care of their home while she worked 14-hour days growing her company. The trouble began when Marcus took the security position at her building. Victoria had initially supported his decision, he had military experience, after all. But as Meridian's success skyrocketed and Victoria ascended to new social heights, she became increasingly embarrassed by her husband's modest position. You could at least apply for management roles, she'd suggested one night over a dinner she was barely touching, her attention divided between her plate and her phone. I could make some calls. I'm happy where I am, Marcus had replied simply. Victoria couldn't understand it. Her husband seemed to have no ambition whatsoever. While she networked with tech billionaires and political figures, Marcus seemed content checking IDs and monitoring security cameras. The disconnect between them grew wider with each passing month. What Victoria didn't know, what she couldn't know, was that Marcus Chen wasn't just a former soldier. He had been Commander Marcus Reeves, leader of an elite special operations unit that handled the most sensitive missions for the government. His record was sealed, his achievements classified, and his identity had been changed when he'd left service 3 years ago. Marcus had his reasons for keeping his past hidden, even from his wife. The missions he'd led had made powerful enemies. His new identity was meant to protect not just himself, but anyone close to him. And despite Victoria's growing disdain, he loved her deeply. That morning, as Victoria disappeared into her private elevator without acknowledging him, Marcus sighed and returned to his security monitors. His second-in-command, Ray, shook his head sympathetically. Rough morning at home, boss? Marcus shrugged. Same as usual. Don't know how you take it, Ray muttered. If my wife looked through me like that, I'd. Let's check the perimeter feeds, Marcus interrupted, not wanting to discuss his marriage. The truth was, Marcus was reaching his breaking point. He'd accepted Victoria's coldness, her late nights, her canceling of their rare dinner plans for emergency meetings. He'd even accepted her obvious embarrassment when introducing him to her colleagues. But lately, he'd begun to wonder if there was anything left to save. Upstairs, Victoria was in her element, commanding a room full of executives with effortless authority. "The Artemis project is our future," she declared, gesturing to the holographic display showing their newest AI interface. "We're not just creating another digital assistant. We're developing the first truly adaptive learning system that can anticipate needs across multiple platforms." Her CFO, James Wilson, nodded appreciatively. "The military applications alone could be worth billions." Victoria smiled. "Which is why the Department of Defense representatives will be here next week. I want everything perfect." After the meeting, Victoria's closest friend and marketing director, Sophia Kim, lingered behind. "You're working too hard," Sophia observed. "When was the last time you and Marcus had a proper date night?" Victoria waved dismissively. "We're fine." "Are you?" "Because every time I mention him, you change the subject." Victoria sighed, her professional mask slipping momentarily. "I don't know what happened, Sophia. When we met, he was this confident, mysterious man with stories about traveling the world. I thought he was between jobs, figuring things out. I never imagined he'd settle for being a security guard. He seems to care about you. Caring isn't enough. I need an equal, not someone I have to." Victoria trailed off. "Take care of?" Sophia finished. "Because from where I'm standing, Marcus takes care of himself just fine. Maybe the problem isn't his job." Victoria bristled. "I have to prepare for the investor call." As Sophia left, Victoria stared out at the city below. She had everything she'd ever worked for: professional respect, financial success, influence. So why did she feel so empty when she went home to the beautiful house she shared with a husband who had become a stranger? Meanwhile, Marcus was reviewing security footage when something caught his eye. A man in a maintenance uniform was accessing the electrical room on the 48th floor, just 2 floors below Victoria's office. Something about his movements triggered Marcus's training. The man was too deliberate, too aware of the camera angles. Marcus zoomed in on the man's face and ran it through the building's employee database. No match. "Ray, call up to maintenance. See if they have anyone scheduled for electrical work on 48. While Ray made the call, Marcus continued watching the man, who was now placing something inside an electrical panel. "Maintenance says negative, no scheduled work today," Ray reported. Marcus was already moving. "Lock down the electrical room on 48. I'm heading up. Want me to call the police?" "Not yet. Could be nothing." But Marcus knew it wasn't nothing. His instincts, honed through years of high-stakes operations, were screaming danger. As Marcus took the service elevator up, he removed a small key from his pocket and unlocked a hidden compartment in his security cart. Inside was a compact handgun and a tactical knife, items he'd kept against regulations, knowing someday they might be needed. On the 48th floor, Marcus moved silently down the corridor. The electrical room door was ajar. He could hear someone working inside. Drawing his weapon, Marcus took a deep breath, centering himself the way he had before countless missions. He pushed the door open in one swift movement, weapon raised. "Security. Don't move." The man in the maintenance uniform spun around, revealing a device attached to the building's main electrical system. Not a bomb, something more sophisticated. The man lunged for a tool bag. Marcus moved with a speed and precision that would have shocked anyone who knew him only as a security guard. 3 seconds later, the intruder was unconscious on the floor, and Marcus was examining the device. It was a sophisticated bypass system designed to override the building's security protocols. Marcus recognized military-grade technology when he saw it. This wasn't a random attack, it was targeted, professional. Marcus secured the unconscious man with zip ties from his belt and called Ray. "We have a situation. Lock down the building and call the police." Then evacuate the 48th through 50th floors. Use the fire alarm if you have to. Boss, what's going on? Just do it, Ray. Now. Marcus examined the device more carefully. It was set to activate in 20 minutes. Whatever was planned would happen soon. And Victoria's office was just 2 floors up. The fire alarm blared throughout the upper floors. In her office, Victoria looked up in annoyance as her assistant rushed in. "They're saying we need to evacuate," the assistant said anxiously. "Probably a drill," Victoria replied, gathering her tablet. "Take the stairs down to 45. We can continue the meeting in..." Victoria frowned. "Fine. Tell the team to reconvene at the satellite office." As Victoria headed for the stairwell with her executive team, her phone rang. It was an unknown number. "Victoria Chen," she answered crisply. "Mrs. Chen, listen carefully." The voice was disguised, electronic. "Your building security has been compromised. This is not a drill. There are 4 men in your building with orders to abduct you. If you go to the designated evacuation point, you will be taken." Victoria stopped walking. "Who is this?" "Someone who knows what's happening. Your company's Artemis project has attracted unwanted attention. There are people who want that technology, and the knowledge in your head." Victoria felt a chill. The Artemis project was their most classified initiative. Very few people knew the details. "Why should I trust you?" "Because I'm the only one who can get you out safely. Go to the service elevator on the east side of the building. Enter code 7729. It will take you to the basement level. Wait there." The line went dead. Victoria stood frozen as her team continued toward the stairwell. "Victoria? Are you coming?" James called back to her. Making a split-second decision, Victoria shook her head. "I forgot something critical in my office." "Go ahead, I'll catch up." Before James could protest, Victoria turned and hurried down a side corridor toward the east wing. Her heart pounded as she approached the service elevator. This could be a trap, but something in that disguised voice had carried authority, and genuine concern. She punched in the code, 7729. To her surprise, the elevator responded, doors sliding open. Taking a deep breath, Victoria stepped inside. In the basement, Marcus waited anxiously. He'd used a voice modulator to call Victoria, knowing she wouldn't listen to her security guard husband. The building was compromised. He'd found 2 more men with fake IDs on the security cameras, both carrying concealed weapons. This was a professional operation, and Victoria was clearly the target. Marcus had called in an old favor, using a code word that would alert his former unit. Help would come, but not soon enough. He needed to get Victoria somewhere safe. The service elevator doors opened, and Victoria stepped out cautiously. Her eyes widened in surprise and then narrowed in suspicion when she saw Marcus. "What are you doing here? Did you make that call?" Marcus nodded, dropping the pretense. "We don't have time for explanations. The building's been infiltrated by a professional team. They're after you, or more specifically, after information about the Artemis project." Victoria stared at him. "How do you know about Artemis?" "That's classified." "Victoria, please. I need you to trust me right now. There's a lot you don't know about me, but I promise I'll explain everything once you're safe." Before Victoria could respond, the lights in the basement flickered. The security system had been compromised. "They've cut the main power," Marcus said grimly. "Emergency generators will kick in, but they'll have access to the security feeds now." He reached into his jacket and pulled out his weapon. Victoria's eyes widened at the sight of the gun. "You're not authorized to carry that." Despite the tension, Marcus almost smiled. Even in danger, his wife was thinking about regulations. "There's a maintenance tunnel that leads to the parking garage next door. he said, ignoring her comment. We need to move now. Victoria hesitated, clearly torn between her distrust of the husband she thought she knew and the undeniable danger surrounding them. Victoria, Marcus said softly, using the tone he'd once used to calm frightened hostages, I know I'm not the man you thought you married. But I am someone who can keep you safe right now. Please. Something in his voice, a quiet authority she'd never heard before, made Victoria nod. Lead the way. Marcus guided her through the dimly lit maintenance tunnel, moving with a confidence and awareness that seemed completely at odds with the security guard she thought she knew. He checked corners before proceeding, held her back at certain junctions, listening intently before moving forward. Who are these people? Victoria whispered as they paused at a junction. Based on their equipment and tactics, I'd guess private military contractors. Someone wants your AI technology badly enough to risk an abduction in broad daylight. But how would they even know? Victoria stopped mid-sentence, a horrible realization dawning. The Singapore investors. The meeting was supposed to be tomorrow, but I moved it. Only my executive team knew. Marcus nodded grimly. You have a leak in your organization. They reached the end of the tunnel, facing a heavy metal door. Marcus listened carefully before pushing it open a crack. The adjacent parking garage appeared empty. Stay close to me, he instructed. We're heading for the blue sedan in the corner. Walk normally, but be ready to run if I say so. They stepped into the garage, Marcus scanning constantly for threats. They were halfway to the car when the sound of footsteps echoed from the level above. Move, Marcus whispered urgently, placing himself between Victoria and the potential threat. They had almost reached the car when two men in tactical gear appeared at the garage entrance, weapons drawn. Down! Marcus shouted, pushing Victoria behind a concrete pillar as bullets struck the cars around them. What happened next would forever change how Victoria saw her husband. Marcus moved with lethal precision, returning fire while advancing on their attackers. His movements were fluid, economical, nothing wasted. Within seconds, both attackers were down, and Marcus was pulling her toward the car. Get in, he ordered, tossing her the keys. Start it. I'll cover. Victoria's hands trembled as she unlocked the car, a vehicle she'd never seen before. Whose car is this? Mine, Marcus replied, scanning the garage for more threats. Emergency vehicle. Untraceable. As Victoria started the engine, more gunfire erupted from the garage entrance. Marcus returned fire, providing cover as he backed toward the car. He slid into the passenger seat, grimacing. Drive. Head for the exit, then take Highway 1 south. Victoria pulled away, hands shaking on the wheel. You're bleeding. Marcus glanced down at his arm, where a bullet had grazed him. It's nothing. Just drive. As they sped away from the garage, Victoria's mind raced. The man beside her, her husband of 3 years, was a stranger. The calm, methodical way he had handled the attackers spoke of years of training and experience far beyond that of a simple security guard or even a regular soldier. Who are you? She asked, her voice barely audible over the engine. Marcus was checking the mirrors, ensuring they weren't followed. Former Special Forces Commander. I led a classified unit that handled sensitive extraction and intelligence operations. Victoria nearly missed a turn. Special Forces? But you told me you were just a regular soldier. I couldn't tell you the truth. My identity was changed when I left service for security reasons. So Marcus Chen isn't even your real name? He looked at her then, his eyes sad. It is now. Legally. But I was born Marcus Reeves. Victoria felt like she might be sick. 3 years of marriage, and I don't even know your real name. Victoria, No, she cut him off. Not now. Just tell me where we're going. Marcus directed her to a small, nondescript cabin in the hills south of the city. The property was surrounded by trees, isolated from neighbors, with clear sightlines in all directions, a safe house, Victoria realized. Inside, Marcus secured the perimeter while Victoria sat at the kitchen table, trying to process everything that had happened. Her husband moved differently now. Gone was the somewhat passive security guard, replaced by a man who commanded every space he entered. After checking the cabin, Marcus retrieved a first aid kit and began treating his arm wound with practiced efficiency. "Let me," Victoria said, surprising herself by taking the antiseptic from him. As she cleaned his wound, she asked, "Why did you leave the military?" Marcus was quiet for a moment. "My last mission went wrong. We were extracting a high-value asset from a hostile region when we were ambushed. 3 of my men died. I got the asset out, but..." He paused. "I later discovered we'd been set up by someone inside our own organization. The mission was compromised from the start. So you just walked away? Changed your identity?" "I was given a choice: accept a cover story about mission failure, take a promotion to a desk job, and keep quiet, or leave with a new identity. I chose to leave." Victoria finished bandaging his arm, her mind still.